All right, beautiful people, thank you for joining us for this week's edition of Talk Point. My name is Oba Adeoye. Talk Point comes your way every Saturday on this platform, Lagos Weekend Television, where we try to look at things as they happen in our society, and we try as much as possible to help you make meanings from all of them that happen at the speed of light. So this evening, two issues we shall be taking a look at. Okay, one of them just ended about some few hours ago. That's talking about the All Progressives Congress National Convention, which took place in Abuja. A lot of people have waited with bated breath for this national convention, but it has come and gone. Very many prophets of doom had predicted, a day of doom for the APC, but it appears that all went well, although not without some skirmishes here and there, and that is expected of any political party as the case may be. So as it is right now, former governor of Edo State, Adams Oshiomhole, has been, elected as the new national chairman of the All Progressives Congress. He took over from another former governor of the state, that's Chief John Odige Oyegun, and about 18 other, aspirants who contested one office or the others were also returned unopposed. So as it is right now, APC appears to still be standing in one unit. What will happen tomorrow? What will be, the backlash from this particular convention? We shall be taking a look at it on this program this evening. During the week, one particular issue came up, and for many days, it was a running issue. A lot of people were running commentaries on it. People were bearing their thoughts, bearing their minds on that particular development, and in a way divided Nigerians along two major lines. Some appears to be taking side with the executive, while some said that indeed the legislature are enabled by the law to do what they did. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the 2018 budget, which was signed into law by Mr. President during the week. A budget of more than 9 trillion naira. That's the budget, exactly 9.120 trillion naira. And according to the presidency, more than 6,000 new projects were smuggled, using exact words that were used by certain publications, were smuggled into the 2018 budget, while a sum of 347 billion naira were caught, cut from that budget, while the allocation to the National Assembly from 125 billion naira were hijacked to 139.5 billion naira. And of course, the National Assembly has reacted, saying that they acted in good spirit of the law, citing Section 14, subsection 3 of the 1999 Constitution, and particularly emphasizing the national character thing, that projects being highlighted in the budget must be spread across all the major geopolitical zones in the country. What do you make of all this? Where do you stand? Is Mr. President justified by the alarm that he raised, or is the National Assembly not doing what is expected of them to do? If the budget is a law and the lawmakers are meant to make laws, why then is Mr. President raising alarm about the inclusion, addition, subtraction, division, and what have you in the 2018 budget? That's what we have on the menu list this evening. When the time comes, you'll meet my guests, and together we shall be taking a look at these two issues on tonight's edition of Talk Point. But before then, I can assure you that beyond these two main, issues, a lot of things have happened. They have happened in the week across the nation. Let's take a look at what happened in Nigeria in the past few days in just 60 seconds. After then, I'll be right back. My name is Oba Adeoye. My producer is Adenike Adebi. Stay with us. I'll be right back. All right, thank you for staying with us on tonight's edition of Talk Point. That's the nation in just 60 seconds. What happened across Nigeria? And for me, it's so sad, so pathetic that despite the fact that we have reported the outbreak of cholera in some parts of Nigeria, we are still recording new cases. From that slide you saw a moment ago, 24 new cases just recorded in Adamawa State. What is the preparation, the proactiveness of a neighboring state to Adamawa State, and what is the Adamawa State government doing to arrest this particular ugly development to nip it in the bud before it spreads or becomes bigger than what it is right now? All right, then, I told you we have two issues on the radar this evening: 2018 budget signing into law, and of course the APC National Convention that was, closed some moments back at the Eagle Square in Abuja. Our correspondent at Adegboyega Arogbodo in Abuja will be joining us in the course of tonight's edition to bring us up to speed with what happened in Abuja during that particular convention. But then let me introduce my guest. Kola Olaitan is a chartered accountant, a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria. Good evening.
Good evening.
Nice to have you join us.
My great pleasure.
Hope the rains did not disturb you.
We thank God for it.
It's been raining since morning,
Exactly.
across Lagos.
Exactly.
And it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Of course
At
it
least
is.
it makes the weather friendly.
Wonderful. That's exactly. That's what it is.
Okay. All right. Let me see if we can connect with our correspondent, our bureau chief in Abuja. Okay, we are still waiting for Boyega Robojo to join us online to bring us a compressed version of the report pertaining to the APC National Convention that was held in Abuja. I attended a moment ago in Abuja. Mr. Lighton, the APC, a lot of people were expecting that the party, someone said during the week that this Saturday will be APC's final burial ceremony, using the exact words that person said. Used, but as it appears, the party seems to have survived another serious one. What do you think about this?
Yeah. Yes, I'm not a politician, but I can tell you that we are all watchers of the goings on within the system. What do you expect? The governors were on the side of the gentleman who finally won, one of them. And
that's Adams Oshiomhole.
Adams Oshiomhole. And you also watched them when he last visited the National Assembly. So, look, you can as well just conclude that, look, it was
a tea party, so to say. Because according
I
to...
wasn't expecting anything less than that.
According to the report that I have on the table here, about 18 other positions, were unopposed. Is that democracy?
Yes, it is, of course.
Okay.
If that is the will of the delegates, that's democracy. At the end of the day, it's all about consensus. Look, I always refer people to the fact that, sorry, I always want to take people back. Look at the way Babaja Kande, Onabanjo, Bola Ige, and others came as governors during the UPN days. You wouldn't call that, you won't say that wasn't democracy. It's consensus.
They were unopposed.
They were unopposed. And they were not kind of, even if they were imposed on people, people ended up voting for them. So what are we talking about?
Do you expect any backlash from this particular, what appears to be a successful convention for the APC? Because before now, it appears there are cracks here and there in the APC, the NPDP faction, those who are aggrieved and what have you. But now, the party seems to have come out of that. Do you expect anything to come up at the end of the day?
Yeah. Adams Oshiomhole spoke while he was with the legislature. And according to him, one of the things he wanted to do was to ensure that at the end of the day, some of the acrimonies we have witnessed between the executive and the legislature will be a thing of the past. And that's, I guess, this is where we will see the extent to which he can bring what he did while he was a labor leader to bear in the party. Look, for me, you just mentioned the issue of democracy now. What you hear from here and there, I think is good for the populace. Because at the end of the day, when you hear every one of them probably entering into a room and coming out laughing, that means they probably have not spoken well to each other. So I expect there will always be opposition, but at the end of the day, there will be, the minority will always speak, the majority will always have their way. And that's what you see. And I guess that is what, I'm not an expert in this, but that is the little we can say.
Okay.
At the end of the day, a winner has emerged, winners have emerged. We expect that, look, we can possibly have unity within the party. And those of them who probably will not be able to kind of stay within the party will look for somewhere else to stay.
All right, let me take you somewhere else now for you to stay. Let me take you to your top. Yeah. I know you are well versed when it comes to figures, you know, putting meanings to figures, interpretations of figures. During the week, Mr. President signed the 2018 budget into law. And, you know, some people were expecting that Mr. President was going to complain about one thing or the other. And, you know, he never disappointed. He came out and he complained about how the National Assembly has dealt in a way that is not too good, according to him. They have dealt with the national budget, you know. But some people are saying that the National Assembly was actually playing what is expected, playing the role that is expected of them to do. In all of this, can you help us understand all of this?
Okay, I guess what you want me to speak about is the political part.
Let's start from that. Let's say
exactly.
Let's say the foundation for
now, that. The very first thing, I think I want to praise the president for doing what he did. Look, rather than allowing the whole thing to continue to linger on, he signed in the budget with the expectation that he will forward a supplementary budget or amendment, as the case may be. I like that maturity on his part. The fact that, okay, fine, we've waited almost 7 months for this budget, or 6 months to be passed, and now the budget is out. And rather than sending it back to them and then you have back and forth, a lot of us actually expected that the budget will be returned and then we will have another 2 months of bickerings here and there. But thank goodness the president took a different path, and a very, very well-matured path. And I commend him for that. Very lovely one. One thing I wanted to say at the beginning was, look, I wonder why either the president or the attorney general of the federation, where they have actually refused to go to the Supreme Court to challenge
that action
right from time, so that once and for all we can be sure who actually should have the responsibility. Because look, as far as I am concerned, you have the legislature most times talked about being closest to the people, as if the president wasn't elected by the people of Nigeria. We just the way we elected them was the way the whole of the nation elected the
Mr. President too.
And so they cannot claim to be closer to the people than the president. Yeah, even though they all come from various constituencies. But the fact of the case is this. I have my problem with what they do. Because you have the people who ordinarily ought to be in charge of the economy, and that's on the part of the executive, working on the.
Adegboye Garagodo, please hold on. We'll come back to you now. Okay, Mr. Olaitan, let me quickly connect with our borough chief in Abuja, Adegboye Garagodo. Adegboye, good evening. Hello, Adegboye, are you still there?
Hello, the person you are calling is.
All right, Adegboye, I will try to connect back to Adegboye. Sorry to interrupt you there.
No, my great pleasure.
Okay, then.
No problem. For me, I do not believe the legislature is competent enough to take some of the decisions they take, because you have a Ministry of National Planning, you have the CBN, you have a lot of other agency of governments that collaborate to take decisions such as this. And what I expect is for the legislature to interface with these people and know exactly what has happened. But in most cases, what do you see? What I want to say clearly is that, look, election is coming, and a lot of them are desperate, whether negatively or positively. I want to have projects here and there, or the other one that I don't want to talk about, that look, sorry,
let me
amass
so much money as possible
to be able to, we don't want to shy away from saying that, because we are all aware of what goes on. That, look, they want so much money in their kitty to be able to contest the next election.
Let's look at the figures now. According to Mr. President, a lot of projects that were included into the budget were cut down or eliminated completely by the National Assembly. Why the National Assembly introduced about 6,403 additional projects, which some of them call, constituency project and what have you. Now, in all of this, do you think this budget is favorable to the Nigerian people? According to the National Assembly, they took that action because they realized that a lot of these projects were concentrated in a part of the country and not spread across the geopolitical zone as we have it. Is it favorable to the Nigerian people?
You see, I went through the response of the National Assembly, and what I asked myself, for example, take a look at Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Will anybody call that something that is actually meant for a particular zone in Nigeria?
Because it is situated in the southwest.
That's what I'm saying. The point,
but everybody gets to use it.
Fantastic. That's where I'm actually coming from. You talk of also the things like a lot of other projects like that. At no point would you be able to kind of have a situation. What I was thinking of is, look, I guess the presidency would have done something.
Okay, Mr. Olaitan, let me speak with Adegboye Garagodo. I'll come back to you. Please hold your thoughts there. Adegboye Garagodo, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Oba Adeoye.
Thank you for joining us. Yeah. Now, the All Progressives Congress had its national convention, and today, and it came to a close few hours back. You want to tell us what really happened behind the scene during the convention?
I can hardly hear you. Can you come again?
Okay, can you bring us up to speed with what really happened during the convention?
All right. The convention started in earnest. Of course, there was a heavy downpour in the morning.
Okay.
So, around 1 p.m., the National Assembly was said. That was when the governor came in, and of course there was the acting chairman spoke first, and he thanked everybody that he's doing for the past 4 years has been so successful, and that he hoped that the next executive will take off from where he's stopping. And when the president spoke afterwards, of course he said that this is the second phase of the party, that the first phase has just ended, and that it's an avenue to really talk to all the aggrieved members of the party, that they should just use their thoughts, and that the party needs all of them, that all sure that all our three parties are really settled, and that the new executives have a great job at hand, really roll up their sleeves and make sure that all the parties involved, the aggrieved one and the contestants, everyone, is really settled one way or the other. But he passionately begs everyone to contribute, to the success of the party in 2019. So, and of course, all the respondents, because the whole thing started, afterwards we now have the election, what that's the core of the whole thing. So, the election started around 3:34, but, it's quite important that out of the 60 positions that are open to be contested for,
Okay.
about 18 of them have been declared unopposed, like the post of the chairman and some other four posts like that. So, but the remaining 42 was to be contested, but we found out that along the line, in a space of like 1 hour, a great number of them, of the contestants came up, and they were one after the other, declaring that they have withdrawn from the race. I guess, it's pertinent to mention one fact that most of them were saying that the internal mechanism of the party, the resolution mechanism as headed by the national leader of the party,
Okay. Okay.
have really prevailed on some of their grave instances, and that they have decided to withdraw. So, and they thank their state leaders, their state governors, and that they are doing what they are doing as a way of, creating peace within the party, and so as to make sure that there is no problem in 2019.
Great.
In fact, when I spoke with some delegates from Lagos and from across the state, particularly with the governor of Lagos State, Governor Oshiomhole, they specifically said that because the environment is quite calm, I must tell you. Are you there?
I'm listening. I'm listening.
All right. The environment is quite calm, and the exercise was quite rancor-free.
Okay.
Everybody was just commending the organization.
Okay.
To look at the security, for instance, from the People's Square is just a stone throw from the National Assembly and the Villa.
Okay.
The environment is always kind of, so charged, kind of, when you have something like this. But you find that all the adjoining streets from, the entire central area of the city, quite were cordoned off.
Okay.
Right, in fact, when we were coming in the morning, that all the toys were coming from the villa, they have to stop us and ask us to go and get the task from the secretariat. We have to prevail on them that, okay, we are from the villa and we are covering the president. So, at the long run, we entered. A lot of strategists were bad because they couldn't get the task.
Okay.
Can I imagine even people who are not, of any stakeholder kind of, they're not like people on the street.
All right.
People outside the whole environment, the first carnival like outside, but where the event really happens, quite serene and calm.
Okay. Adegboyega.
The governor told me, he said, what is happening today is a loud statement that the party has matured its internal mechanism system, that and it's a show that the party is today coming out strong after the whole experience. And
Okay.
everybody I interviewed, said the same thing. That it's a clear show. That it has really proved a lot of pundits wrong.
Okay.
People have thought that probably the convention
Will be the end of APC. Okay. Now, Adegboyega, you have painted a very lofty picture. You painted a picture that everything was perfectly done at the APC convention. Does it mean that those aggrieved nerves, members of the MPDP particularly, were also, they were in good spirit and they agree with everything that came to play?
All the states, all the states were in their different stuff. register people were.
Okay.
Delegates. And when we found out there was a particular list, they called it the unity list.
Okay.
Was brought in, and that the delegates from the state were against that list. That's, the list includes delegates, some delegates that were to vote.
Okay.
But there are other delegates that have, okay, that list not authentic. So they nearly, it was they have to like come in and point the situation when the president was speaking. So, and again, about 30 minutes ago, because Kogi State is just beside Lagos State. So, people say that some people in the Kogi block as well.
All right.
Some noise and they were like, on the same issue.
Okay.
So, but generally speaking, it's like a carnival-like situation. Everywhere was just, the Lagos State plot is quite unique. The whole noise from that place is quite, just,
That's a coup for sure.
everybody is just of the opinion that it's a real matured way of handling something like this.
Okay. All right. Boyega, thank you very much for that report.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
All right, that was our Abuja Bureau Chief Boyega Arogbodo bringing us up to speed with what happened at the APC National Convention, which Mr. Kola Olaitan and I, discussed earlier before we connected with Adeboyega. Now back to the 2018 budget. We have 6 months to the end of this year. Is there any hope for this budget being implemented at all?
Yeah, if you look at what happened for 2017 budget, the budget was still in operation up till June.
Okay.
And the expectation is that the same thing will happen to this. Actually, that was one of the things the legislature said, that they assumed that, look, if the question I ask really is, are we now changing from June to May or something like that? They are actually quoting a part of the Constitution. I'm not a lawyer, but I guess what that part of the Constitution said was not exactly the fact that, look, right from the day the president signed, then you count 12 months. No. What that aspect of the Constitution says was quite different. But we need a lawyer to interpret that.
That's a case for another day.
A case for another day. But my worry really is what usually happens is that, look, we have a kind of a waiting game. In the last 6 months, it's like we have had no budget. That's exactly the way it looks. But the way the National Assembly seems to be looking at it is that, look, this particular budget also for 12 months till the time the president
will
sign. So it then means that, okay, up till May 29 or so, we have a budget for the president for this current administration to work on. Automatically, that is what it means. The other bill that was passed by the National Assembly, that's on the Constitution, which will allow the organic aspect of it to be done such that, look, anything can come in at any point in time. That's what they were looking at. But to me, I think it's a bit irresponsible. We've had administrations in this country. This is probably the worst that I have seen. I'm talking in terms of from the legislature side. And I hope they will have a second.
But the executive and the legislature is being controlled by the same political party, Mr. Olaitan.
You see,
the same party.
I appreciate when things go this way.
Okay.
For the benefit of the people.
Okay.
Look, you have what is happening in the US, for example, today. There's a lot of disagreement between Trump and the Congress. That does not mean, but for everything you hear, it is specifically in the interest of the people.
The American people first.
Exactly. In the interest of the people. Can we say the same here?
Okay, let's
I don't really like a situation where the executive and the legislature will always just have it go
smoothly
like that. No, it's not the best.
But don't you think it would have been you know, better for Mr. President to have lobbied the National Assembly in the process of, you know, treating this budget. Lobbying is a democratic tool, is a tool in democracy, and it's something that is being used all over the world. You just mentioned President Trump. He also lobbies. He lobbies the Assembly.
The word lobby you have used means something else in the U.S. It means Ghana must go in Nigeria.
But not necessarily that way.
No.
It's just,
I am telling you.
Parleying with the National Assembly and, you know, seeking their support, and
you will,
particularly when they are controlled by the same political party.
Please take a look at something. We expect that the new chairman will do something along that line, but take a look at it from this point of view. The liaison advisor of the president is a former legislator. The person who is in charge of the national planning is also a former senator. And you will clearly can see that our gentlemen there are not giving for the kind of a thing you're talking about. No, very clearly.
But they are lawmakers, and the budget is a law. Would you expect, Mr. President, to send a law to the lawmakers and expect the same law to come back to him verbatim without them looking at it, you know, making corrections, additions, and what have you? Would you expect that the same document given to them be returned to Mr. President without anybody touching anything?
Yes, exactly. You remember what I said?
But they are lawmakers. What's their job then?
No. You will recollect what I said at the beginning of this, that someone somewhere needs to get to the courts.
Okay.
To look,
get interpretation.
I have this problem. My problem is not about what they say. It's about having to start dictating figures. That, oh, sorry, you bring me 200 million, and I say, oh, sorry, you cannot spend 200 million, you spend 300 million. Some facts that they do not have. Do you get what I'm saying?
I'm following.
That's my problem.
Okay.
My problem is not about, it's not about they just saying, beep, and that is it. Okay. No, that's not what we're talking about. But for goodness sake, some people who are technocrats work somewhere to bring this forward. Look, then what then is the essence of saying you are waiting for the MDAs to come talk to you? You have the figures, you have the spread, you have the allocations. So why then don't you just sit down?
But why do you think the executive has refused to go to court for interpretation of all this?
Yeah, that I do not know.
Okay.
That I do not know. I do not know exactly the reason for that. Maybe they have better information than I have. But being from the same political party, you could see very well that, look, somehow, even within the National Assembly, there's a divide. But you have the issue of the NPDP that you talked about. You have these guys fraternizing with their former
party members.
And then to get things going. And for how long, I do not know. I wish them well.
Okay, as we bring this to a close, what advice will you give National Assembly? Mr. President, we are halfway into the year, and in the next 2, 3, 4 months, the budget should be, another budget, that's the 2019 budget, should be sent to the National Assembly. What should we do to make sure that we don't go through the same path for 2019 budget?
I guess they should all just realize the fact that Nigerians are wiser, and they should please work for the people in the interest of the populace. Nigerians are suffering. They need to work in the interest of Nigerians.
Mr. Olaitan, thank you very much for coming on the show this evening.
Pleasure.
All right, that's a word of advice from Mr. Olaitan. You need to work in the best interest of the Nigerian people. That's what he said, both the executive and the legislature. 2019 budget, the planning for that 2019 budget should be underway as we speak. So in order for us not to go through this path, once again, he said, put the interest of the Nigerian people at heart, and of course, we'll have to solve some of this problem. Mr. Olaitan, thank you very much for coming on the show. All right, that's the start of our package this evening. Special thanks to the production team led by Adenike Adebiyi, our bureau chief in Abuja, Adegboye Garagoda. Thank you very much for bringing us up to speed with what is happening with the APC National Convention in Abuja. My name is Oba Adeoye. Let this conversation continue on our various social media platforms, on Twitter, on Facebook, WhatsApp. Let's get interested in what is happening with our nation, Nigeria, and get interpretation to all of this. I'll see you next week with another fresh edition of Talk Point. Bye for now.